What up, Alpha Team? It's DJ AlphaTyler, and we are back again. And Hangover Gang already knows we're late, but we're coming for Sheeple by MacDonald. You guys know I don't sleep on Tom. Reactions, we got to be checking it out, even if we're late to the game. I'm excited about this one. I saw, and I'm going to tell you guys, part of why I have to get this one done is because I saw that Nova did a reaction to this track, and I haven't had a chance to check that out yet because I haven't heard the actual song or seen the video. Without further ado, we're about to jump into it. Before we do that, couple of things for you guys. Number one, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below to join the Alpha Team. Don't forget to ding that notification bell to get on the notification squad. Like the video if you enjoyed the reaction. And if you haven't heard the original, the link to this thing is in the bottom of the description. Make sure you get over there, like, share, and subscribe over there as well. And that's really all I got. Without further ado, let's check out Sheeple by MacDonald. Let's get it. If I can put my hand.
Humans been controlled since the day that they were civilized. The truth has been so heavily politicized. If you don't know who's controlling you and killing all the little guys, find out who you're not allowed to criticize.
Out the gate, I mean, again, song title is Sheeple. Pretty easy to see where we're going. People are sheep. People fall in that line. He's talking about people being controlled as long as society has existed. Sure, government always puts those parameters around what you can't do, how you will and won't act, what you will, won't say, do, all that stuff. I like how, though, he's getting into, if you don't know already who's pulling the strings, look at the person you can't criticize, because that's the person with the most power. 100%. We skip over that fact a lot because when it comes down to it, and we're looking at who controls what, the government, this, that, there are people in the government who still get silenced and shut out. So how is it, who is actually controlling people? It's the ones that you can't say anything about, the ones that you can't criticize, or you get shut down, you get pushed out.
Don't know who's controlling you and killing all the little guys, find out
you get canceled.
Who you're not allowed to criticize. Black folks who were never ever actual slaves, fighting with white folks who ain't actual Nazis, controlled by.
Okay, so okay, hold up. So I just recorded my reaction to White Lives Matter by Mises, and this is relevant subject matter because what Tom's talking about right here is actually kind of in the same vein as what he was talking about right there. You know, at the end of the day, white and black lives both matter. If you guys haven't seen all the controversy around Kanye wearing a hoodie,
never ever actual slaves, fighting with white folks who ain't actual Nazis, controlled by rich folks who use the news to make hate, while elite folks control other political parties.
And that's facts, though. At the end of the day, like we said, black folks who were never actually slaves versus white folks who aren't Nazis. I would even go a step further, who never owned slaves. You know, when it goes to specifically the black and white divide in America, because they're being played by rich people, by political elites, by people. And when it comes down to it, then you're farming, you're either a Republican or a Democrat. When the Republican parties and the Democratic parties, when you look at how they actually run, there's a reason Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell can just easily hand off control of the Senate. You know what I'm saying? Neither of them are for you. There are so many other political parties in America, and I urge everybody, please understand the other political options you have in America besides Republican and Democrat. Because if we stay in this red versus blue back and forth for the rest of our lives, we are never going to change anything in America. We are only going to keep fighting each other while people keep getting richer and our country loses as a result.
It's a big lie, trying to make you pick sides, trying to make you burn the cities down and kill each other. They got sick minds, big lies, deep on the police so that there's big crime. To take away our freedom, to restore order, they let die. Play with people, turn men into women, make the counterculture mainstream to mix up the system, change the pronouns. If gender is a spectrum, so is privilege. I know poor white folks and black celebrities with millions.
And he's right. And when it comes down, a lot of the factors that really divide us, and I've talked about this a ton of times if you guys are familiar with my content, what really divides us in America is your socioeconomic status. When it comes down to it, where you fit in society, how much money you have, those two factors are so much more important than the color of your skin, than you know, anything else that is used to divide us. It's just when it comes down to it, the people who are pulling the strings have an easier time making us fight if you're on one of two sides and you have to pick one. That's why again, they don't want you to vote outside of Republican and Democrat, because if there's more than two political options, then you might actually have a choice that represents you. You might not feel like you have to fight against the enemy and for your friend. You might not have to pick one of two. It's just like black and white. If we bring every ethnicity into the conversation, or God forbid we talk about the fact that some people are mixed, then we might forget that we have to fight for our side against the other side.
They starve you with a lack of information and only give you facts through a branded corporation.
Is this Stranger Things music? Is this a sample of the Stranger Things music?
They starve you with a lack of information and only give you facts through a branded corporation. Distort your worldview with an algorithm that changes based on propaganda curated for your engagement.
Facts though. And he's talking about how everything that you consume online works right there. Again, it's all an algorithm based on what you're most likely, not even what you're most likely to view, what you're most likely to enjoy, nothing like that. It's based on what you're most likely to open and spend the most time with.
We can't be free, can't have no peace till we're on the same team, but y'all are sheep. Blue to screens just part of the machine. Y'all are sheep. What do y'all believe? Oh my sheep. Nothing's what it seems. Hollywood been rotting your brain, controlling your mouth. You say lit, fleek, bet, cap. They trying to dumb you down. They endorse.
Facts though. For the longest time, I did not want to use any of the internet lingo. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten into it, especially. I mean, I do reactions. Everything that I do is active in the hip-hop community, and so, well, not everything, but a lot of the things that I do are active in the hip-hop community, and so a lot of the lingo that's prevalent in the hip-hop culture right now has kind of infiltrated me a lot more in the past couple of years than it used to. There was a time, things like cap, lit, all this stuff, I was not going to use that because it's just a dumb down of your language. It encourages you to have a smaller vocabulary rather than actually extending your vocabulary and speaking, from a more educated position. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, to use trendy words and have fun with things like that, but understand it really is a cycle. When you dumb yourself down in one aspect, you are encouraged to dumb yourself down in other aspects. You're encouraged to consume. You're encouraged to, associate more with content with people who reflect what you are bringing to the table in that aspect. And so if you're dumbing yourself down, if everybody in the society, everybody around you, everybody that you engage with, all the content that you consume, so on and so forth, is that dumbed down perspective, you have no incentive or room really for growth. Or you may have room and incentive, but there's a cap on how high that can go.
Whatever narrative is popular to shout and use minorities in movies for diversity clout. Two sides on the spectrum, but ain't none of them honest. Took the red pill and the blue pill, spit them both in the garbage. Being woke used to mean you understood you're a target, and now it's having two good legs and never taking a step forward. If you agree it's free speech, disagree it's hate speech. Erase it if it came from anywhere except the mainstream. Trump's.
I like that. If you agree that it's free speech, disagree that it's hate speech, because at the end of the day, I think he was continuing that, but what I would say is there cannot be specific hate speech. If you say something hateful, that is intended to be hateful. Either your speech is free or it isn't, and either you have to deal with the repercussions of saying something stupid or you don't.
Free speech.
If you get your ass beat because you say a dumb word that you shouldn't be saying publicly,
disagree it's hate speech. Erase it if it came from anywhere except the mainstream. Trump supporters labeled as the racist, but that can't be. Lincoln was Republican and that's who ended slavery. Science been politicized, it's easy to see. A mask became a symbol of which side you believe. But you'll never cure a sickness till you cure the greed, because the problem with our natural immunity is it's free.
I think YouTube says that you can talk about that now. All I'm gonna say is back that up and think about what a lot of us have been saying for a long time.
society is broken, want you locked inside a cubicle, addicted to pornography, liquor, and pharmaceuticals.
That's absolutely facts, man. That is the deadly trio that keeps so many people locked in a cycle. You can't stop drinking, you can't stop jacking, and you can't stop fading.
Tell you that you're fat and poor and you were never beautiful, then tweet how much they love you when they hear about your funeral. We can't be.
And that's true as well, man. There are a lot of valid facts that Tom's bringing in this. Like, I'm not going to say that all of them are extremely groundbreaking or things that nobody knew until this moment, but I'm going to say they're all extremely relevant. And if you don't see the relevance in this, literally stop for a minute and just step back, look at it without defending anything, and you can't help but see the truth in what the man is saying right here.
Be free, can't have no peace till we're on the same team, but y'all are sheep. Blue to screens, just part of the machine. Y'all are sheep. What do y'all believe? Oh, my sheep. Nothing's what it seems. If they can't convince you, they confuse you. They want you dumb and dead. They divided you by race, religion, income, and sex. Made everybody right and left. The hatred got so intense.
See, and what I like about this, what I like about Tom in a lot of his songs that I don't think he really gets credit for. If you think about what he's talking about right here, this is the extrapolation of what he was talking about in the first verse that I kind of went off into. Now he's coming back full circle and given those factors behind it that I laid out earlier.
They divided you.
I like that.
By race, religion, income, and sex. Made everybody right and left. The hatred got so intense. If the other side likes oxygen, you'll put a bag on your head. And the conspiracy theories labeled as misinformation is just a terrifying truth that scares the hell out the nation. The system treating you like trash and you got rifles to aim with. Just imagine how they'll treat you when your guns get confiscated. George Orwell.
We shouting out 1984 now. Hey, but he was talking the truth right there too. I mean, when we're talking about, imagine how it is now when you can defend yourself. We're talking about banning guns and everything. Look at where this goes. George Orwell, 1984, perfect example. My favorite book of all time. If you've never read it, now is the time.
You got rifles to aim with. Just imagine how they'll treat you when your guns get confiscated. George Orwell, 1984 was his last lecture. George called them thought police. Now we call them fact checkers. Government surveillance trying to catch you. They don't ask questions. Mass incarceration equals capital for cash investors. The system isn't broke, it's working fine. Oppressive and chaotic is how it was designed. They say if we ain't doing nothing wrong, there's nothing to hide. While their agenda and intelligence completely classified. They don't.
Now, one thing I'll say, I don't personally agree that the system was designed with the intention of it being what it has become. That said, it is absolutely working just fine for the people in control. He's not wrong about that. I don't think that the founding fathers intended for it to be used this way, but that doesn't change the fact that we are sitting here today and it is being used as it is in America today. So
ain't doing nothing wrong, there's nothing to hide. While their agenda and intelligence completely classified. They don't teach you rights in school, you never learn them at all. Cause they're easy to remove if you don't know what they are. The only people you can rule are the criminal ones. So they force you into corners till you're breaking the law.
That's all extremely true.
We can't be free, can't have no peace till we're on the same team, but y'all are sheep. Blue to screens, just part of the machine. Y'all are sheep. What do y'all believe? Oh, my sheep. Nothing's what it seems.
Okay. So I'm actually super excited to talk about that last piece that he got on, and that's the reason I let the instrumental at the end play out. That last piece that Tom talked about in this song might have been the most noteworthy part of the song for me, because I've said for a long time, we talk about the spread of communism in America and we're losing values and all this stuff. The fact is, we have descended to a point where education doesn't actually teach you. They keep you a child longer. Because you can control, that's the only thing I would add to what Tom said right there. You can control criminals and you can control children, and they keep us children longer. You're a child until your mid-20s now. You live with your parents until you're 18, going to school every day, depending on somebody else. You're not learning anything functional in schools now. It's more about how we can push, agendas and messaging and all this stuff, how we can get more people indoctrinated, basically. Then at that point, you know, when you look at the difference between now and 100 years ago, the value of a high school diploma, because not everybody had a high school diploma 100 years ago. Now, if you don't, you have to get a GED to bring you back up to be a part of a functioning workforce in America today. Um, it's all but mandatory for you to get a high school diploma, period, or an equivalent. That said, once you get out, now it's so easy to get an associate's degree. Most jobs with any actual upward potential require you to have an associate's degree. And now the government wants to make it that much easier to get a bachelor's degree. How long until you need a bachelor's degree to do what you currently need an associate's degree for? And then at that point, so, you know, the cycle, when it started making sense to me, was when I was getting my bachelor's degree to become a teacher. And I was looking, and once you're a teacher, you have to have your bachelor's degree and your teaching certification. Within 5 years of beginning employment as a new teacher in Kentucky, you have to get your master's degree, or you lose your teaching license. And so technically, the requirement to be a teacher is to have a master's degree, even though at one point you could teach elementary kids if you had a high school diploma. You could teach high school with an associate's degree. Now you have to have a bachelor's degree and finish your master's degree. How long until the master's degree is required? And already, why that's important, especially to what Tom was talking about here. Now, I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant, but this is important. How long until they're all required? Why is that important? Because it keeps you a child. It keeps you living where someone else is taking care of you, raising you, giving you rules, where you have stipulations on how you live, how you act, all this stuff beyond what society sets in general for humans. You're 18, you should be an adult, but you're not. And so if you think about that, a bachelor's degree is 4 extra years, assuming that you're living on campus, let's say, or you're staying at home with your parents. That's 4 extra years of being a child, essentially, where the most you can work is part-time. You don't start a permanent career during that time because you're working on the degree that is in your permanent career field. Master's degree, that's an extra 2 years on top of that. So already, let's say a master's degree becomes what's expected. You're a child until you're 24 years old at that point. It's insane. And then you go from that, and so many rules are being pushed, so many different parameters are being laid out. What if you become a criminal? It's so easy at that point to become a criminal. Apologize for the rant. That's why I saved it to the end, because I know not everybody's going to be here for that. But if you stayed, I do appreciate you. And again, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below to join the Alpha team. Don't forget to ding the notification bell to get on a notification squad. Like the video if you enjoy the reaction. All that good stuff. I'm DJ AlphaTyler. I hope you're staying safe, taking care of yourselves, and I'll catch you guys next time.